Hey, how's it going out there? Welcome back to the channel, Bass Brothers Fishing DMV. Super excited to bring a special video to you guys today. Highly anticipated and requested video. And it's on the Epropulsion Navy 6.0 electric outboard motor. This is a motor that I installed and did a full install video on the channel last year. Happens to be one of the most watched videos on my channel, and I get the most feedbacks, tons of comments. And one of the things you guys have asked was to do an update video. So I did promise in the comments that I would put together a follow-up video for you guys and give you an update. Like, where do I stand now? To actually have this motor out on the water and use it allowed me to gain a lot of experience. And because 90% of the bodies of water around are all electric, I've run this motor much more than I've run my gas motor. So this is all about sharing my own personal experience. And of course, all of this is just my opinion based on using this motor for the past 2 seasons. First thing I want to do is go over some pros and cons that I've come to learn when using this motor. The first thing I want to mention that I noticed right off the back when I dropped this thing in the water was that it is super quiet. To me, this is the quietest motor out on the market. I've heard torpedoes, I've heard ray marines, and again, because we're surrounded with electric only waters, it gives us an opportunity to be exposed to many different types of motors. And by far, my experience, this is the quietest motor out there, which pays dividends on the water. You don't want to go spooking fish before you even get to cast your line out. Another pro is this is a very reliable motor. You turn that tiller handle, it goes. There's no issues. I don't have any problems with, oh, the motor is janky or is sketchy or it works now, doesn't work later, it needs to warm up. I mean, anything like that. Once this thing is plugged up and turned on, you turn that tiller handle and it goes. And I can't say that for all brands. And trust me, when you're ready to go fishing, you don't want any issues. You want an extremely reliable motor to use so that when you're ready to go, it goes with you. Next up, let's talk about speed. Now, of course, adding a motor like this is going to increase your speed drastically on your boat. I get an average of 8 miles per hour, and that's in a pretty heavy flat bottom, which is key. It's key because if you don't know already, flat bottom boats are typically slower than a mod V or indefinitely a V bottom boat. I get about 8 miles per hour, give or take, depending on wind, chopping the water, etc. And that affects everyone, no matter what kind of motor you have. But that is a huge upgrade from what I was getting from just running my trolling motor. It's actually more than double what I was getting from my trolling motor. So that is a pro, increased speed. Another pro that I like, and this basically goes for any motor that's run with a lithium battery, is the battery is maintenance free. I've done absolutely nothing with this battery but charge it over and over and over again. At this point, I'm a huge fan of lithium batteries, and I will talk about that a little bit later as well, because there is a con to that for this setup. But staying on the pros, maintenance-free battery, long battery life. I've never run out of power any day of fishing, and we've fished multiple 12-hour days, sometimes even more. One of the #1 questions I get is, how long can you run this motor? And my answer is always the same. It depends how you run it. People need to understand that on average, if you were to hook up an electric motor to whatever batteries you have, if you run that motor at full power, you're probably only going to get about an hour, maybe an hour and a half tops total runtime. So you can't just open these motors up, run them full speed, and expect to be out and have power all day long. So I can do 12 hours easy. Today, I've actually fished over 5 hours and I'm at 70% on my battery. And I'm on a reservoir that's almost 2,000 acres. I've made 2 or 3 big runs, several little runs, but I've fished in between. So when you mix in fishing with running the boat, you can get easily over 12 hours of use. So it's all about power management, boating smart, and getting the most out of your battery life. The last pro I want to talk about is I don't have to buy gas anymore. And in today's economic situation, climate, whatever you want to call it, gas costs a lot of money. I mean, you really have to think about how you're paying for gas these days, like you're paying your rent or mortgage. So for me not to have to go to the gas station every single time I take my boat out, all I do is charge it, hit the lake, and run. I'm definitely going to put that in the pro category. All right, let's get into some cons, and you guys probably can guess what the first con is that electric motors are expensive. And there's no way around that right now. Hopefully at some point the prices go down, But between the motor and especially the batteries, you're going to spend a lot more money, especially on the batteries, buying lithium versus lead acid batteries. There's no way around that right now. One of the cons I want to point out is the weight of the battery. The battery I went with for this setup, being a 48 volt motor, I went with the Epropulsion battery, the E175. Now this battery is a perfect match for this motor. It's the best situation when it comes to performance and communication between battery and motor. The top of this screen gives you all kind of data, and I won't get into all those details. You can watch the installation video when I do a review on the water review and talk more about the details of what the motor does. Some folks have left comments, why not go with the aftermarket? Maybe some of the other brands out there. Dakota Lithium is probably the main one that I get asked about. And one of the key deciding factors outside of what I just mentioned about communication and everything being in harmony and maximizing power, this motor being a 9.9 horsepower equivalent needs 125 amps of power, continuous power. And at the time when I researched it, and I did do my research, I tried to go a cheaper route and go a lighter route when it came to the battery setup. But Dakota Lithium's at the time, I don't know if anything's changed now, was not able to provide a battery that did 125 continuous amps coming out the battery. There's I think it's called BMS or BPS system. It's a safety mechanism built into these batteries and most lithiums, at least good ones, where it will shut off automatically if you are exceeding the amperage of the battery. And I know I didn't want to deal with that on the water. I don't want to be dealing with any kind of mechanical issues when I am trying to focus, have fun, fish, catch some giants. I didn't want that at all. So that was one of the main deciding factors why I went with the Epropulsion battery. I also tried to save some weight, but even going with Dakota Lithiums and other brands out there, I might have saved 20, maybe 50 pounds. I don't remember at this point because that was over a year ago. But the main thing was the weight was pretty much the same. So another con, and this is more of an annoying thing, and it's more for my co-angler, which typically is my brother, but anyone that fishes at the back of the boat, sometimes I'm back here, my brother's up front. But anyone who fishes back here will notice that the tiller handle does not stay up. Most motors, especially gas motors, you tilt this up, the tiller handle will stay up. That way you can walk around the back deck. You're not tripping over it, falling in the water. But this doesn't. And to me, that's pretty annoying. And I wish they designed it to where this would stay up and stay out the way so that you can move freely and fish. And another con, and this is something that is annoying to me, and I mentioned it in the install video, and it still is the same. I think this is by design. The motor actually has some play in it. So when you go in reverse, the motor will tilt and it makes noises. When I put this in reverse, it tilts forward and then it tilts back, it rocks, it makes a noise. I don't like that. I mean, I like it super quiet, but by design, that's how this is. It annoys me. I do have a workaround. I just take my time. I go a little bit softer. And then when I let off, I compensate with my arm so it doesn't bang. You know, the fish can hear all that stuff. So I throw that in the con bucket. I don't personally like that. Other people might not care, but I do want to point that out to folks. I said I would research it and see if there's some way to like fix it or something, but I haven't found a single thing. And the more I look at the motor and look at the mechanics of it, I've concluded that's just how it's made. I've never called Epropulsion to find out or anything like that, but you know, maybe someone can do that. And put a comment below and let me know if they know anything different. And guys, if you want to learn more about how long you can actually run this battery for, check the Epropulsion website. There's a lot of information on there. They have a whole chart that gives different scenarios because again, it all depends how you run the motor. But there's a lot of information on the Epropulsion website, so I do suggest you go on there and check that out. So something I wanted to highlight, and I talked about it in the install video, and since then I've done a lot more research, is the shaft length. Now I'm smiling because I went through a lot trying to compensate for the shaft length. The issue I saw was that the shaft length was too long, and this is a short shaft. The prop actually lands really low below the boat. I had a lot of concerns about that. Why is it like this? Epropulsion, you're making a huge mistake. You know, I have a Mercury 9.9. This is a 9.9 equivalent. The shaft lengths are totally different. Something must be wrong. After I did some research, and I probably should have researched this more before I talked about it in the video, was that the shaft length actually matches my boat. And according to manufacturer recommendations, this is the perfect match. So The transom height, I believe, of my boat here is 15 inches. And their short shaft actually matches for that 15-inch transom. One of the reasons, and this is more my own reason why I think that the shaft is longer than a gas motor shaft, is because the prop on this electric motor is bigger than a typical 9.9 gas motor. And that's my own deductive reasoning. I don't have any scientific proof of that, but just looking at it pound for pound, it's a bigger prop. So it kind of makes sense for the shaft to be longer. That way the prop sits lower in the water column. So regarding the shaft length, I'm going to close out by saying figuring out the right shaft length to buy with an Epropulsion motor is a unique situation. You absolutely want to get on their website and do your research, read what they have. By going on their website, you'll see all the guidance that they've laid out, and it'll actually give you instructions on how to measure your boat in relation to the Epropulsion motor. So you definitely want to check their website to make sure that you're buying the right shaft length. If you guys watch the channel, you know that I installed a micro jacker on this boat, which is what you see right here. And the goal I had was to raise up the motor and raise that prop up to try to get this boat more on plane and increase speed. In the end, after running this motor over and over and over again, after installing the micro jacker, on average, there is no increase in speed by adding the micro jacker. So I did not need to do that. Now, I am happy I do have the jacker because it helps me out, helps me raise up the motor quick, helps me with shallow water situations, helps me out at the boat ramp, loading and unloading the boat. All those things definitely winners for having a jacker, but do not install a jacker to try to increase your speed. Some cases actually lost speed when I raised it up. So it's designed like this for a reason. Don't mess with it. That's my honest opinion based on the experience I've had with this. On a gas motor, totally different situation. Raising that motor up, shoot, I'll crank out 2-3 more miles per hour and help me get on plane, and all those things are working out for the gas motor. But definitely wanted to give an update on that as it relates to installing the jacker on here and what that did as it relates to the Epropulsion motor. So hopefully that answers that question. That was another common question. A lot of people felt like they would do the same thing if they're in my situation, but in the end, guys, don't do it. It's not good. At least my experience. Again, this is my experience. I can't speak for every single boat out there, but with my 1448 low John boat, flat bottom boat, adding a jacker to my setup did not increase speed at all. Another thing I want to address that people are mentioning in the comments of the install video is, well, why did you install the battery in the back of the boat? I could see where that would naturally slow the boat down. And guess what, guys? I totally agree with you. At the time when I bought this motor battery setup, my boat was already modded out. If you guys know, I built this boat out in 2020 during COVID, and it was already done. The only place I had left where I could install the battery was underneath this rear bench seat. So this was my best option at the time. And yeah, I'm sure I probably would have been able to get more speed out of this boat having the battery located in the center of the boat. But that would have meant pretty much completely redoing the entire conversion I did on this boat. So if and when I decide to convert this boat all over again, I will definitely experiment with moving the battery towards the middle of the boat. So in the end, if someone was asked, do I recommend this motor to anyone out there? I absolutely do. I am very happy I chose this brand. I'm very satisfied with the performance. One thing I would love for Epropulsion to do is to create the battery with the same amount of power, but just weigh half the weight. I mean, that would be absolutely awesome. That would be a total win-win situation. I'm sure they're working on it. As things get better, technology gets better across the board with all lithium batteries. Big 48-volt batteries like this will weigh less in the future. I'm saying all this. This is an honest opinion and update / review, whatever you want to call it. I am not sponsored by Epropulsion in any way, shape, or form. I mean, if they want to, hit a brother up, I'm available, but I'm not sponsored. This is just my honest opinion, taking time to reply to you guys who took the time to, one, watch the install video, support this channel, and leave comments. I want to give back and give you all the information that I've learned over the past year of running this motor setup. But yeah, seriously, this is just my attempt to be completely unbiased and 100% transparent with you when it comes to this motor setup. So, two things to be mindful if you are going to purchase this. Number one, cost. Number two, the additional weight you're going to add to your boat. Once you can solve for those two things, hey, it's golden. There's nothing else to think about. It's an absolute no-brainer. My goal today was just to get as much information out to you guys and give back. Look out for a lot more videos coming your way. Got the low 1436 conversion going well. Also guys, the off season is almost here and I am wide open for booking for your boat to be converted. So if you're interested in having your boat done, let me know. All the contact information is down below in the description. Reach out to me ASAP so I can get you on the books. Hope you find all the information I gave out today very useful. Please leave a like on this video if you did get something out of it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. A lot of our viewers are not subscribers, so please hit that subscribe button. Help our channel grow. Hit the like button. It definitely helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Now, if you're interested to see a full install of this motor, the Epropulsion Navy 6.0, click the link right here to my left to that video. I really hope I was able to satisfy a lot of people's inquiries, you the viewers out there. With that being said, guys, it's time to get back to fishing. It's a beautiful day out here. We'll see you on the next video.